time is just gone 19 minutes past 8 a.m. and we start off this morning looking at the appointment of the new Speaker of Parliament in the National Assembly. We joined this morning on the line by the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Lechesa Tsenoli. Lechesa, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning and good morning to your listeners.
Yes, wonderful that you are able to join us. Obviously, this comes against the appointment of the new Speaker of the National Assembly, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, and just your immediate reaction to this appointment.
No, it can't be a disappointment. Firstly, let's say that it is an election, not an appointment. It's perhaps important.
Okay, no, thank you for clarifying that. Okay,
yes,
right. Okay.
Yeah, the reason I'm pointing out, it's not just that you said it's an appointment, just that it has to be done by secret, according to the rules of what should happen when there's a vacancy for a speaker or a deputy speaker. That, including the president, that such vote must be by secret, so that whatever the political party's view is, members are free to express themselves one way or another. And this is why it was done by vote. It's an important democratic principle. Often we are accused of having party interests, and then people ignore the reality that there is that provision there that enables members to vote according to how they feel. And this is why it is by secret, and it remains so. It can't be opened and so on. I thought I should explain that, given some of the comments that have happened before, not necessarily by you. So, yes, I'm relieved because for real reasons, that as an acting person, you're doing several things at the same time. And it is also better that you have someone there with responsibility and charge of the overall work of the institution. So the National Assembly at least has closed that gap, another that we still have to close in the administration, that of the Secretary of Power.
Yes. Now, interesting that you speak about closing the gap. Just how critical is this gap? And yes, as you pointed out, there was a vote and she was voted in by 199 supporting votes.
Yes. No, it's important. You can't operate without any of the presiding officers, especially at the top level, not being filled. It would stretch the work of the presiding officers. So it opens up the leadership responsibility that must be exercised by someone in a permanent state, not in an active state as I was doing so. So it is critical that this is why I was expressing relief that we've undertaken the process and had elected Honorable Mapisa-Nqakula to take over charge of the responsibility for leading the institution.
Yes. Now, obviously, not everybody is going to be pleased. Not everybody is going to be happy. And we are already starting to see some reaction coming through. And we've seen, for instance, the DA talking about it in making a statement saying that the National Assembly makes a complete mockery of Parliament and the Constitution, and particularly looking at criticizing her with regards to accountability and transparency.
Yes, there will always be such. Well, let me not say always. We always expect that the choices of who becomes the leadership will be contested. It is always better when there is no contestation, when it goes with total acceptance, and when that happens, it's a happier outcome and so on. But this is Parliament is a political institution. We must expect that some of the choices, because of candidates themselves, or because of the opposition party political positions, may lead to criticism such as has been raised. And concretely, they may have grounds which, in their opinion, the decision should not have gone ahead. The DA participated fully. They provided a candidate, and losing is not always nice. So that's also a factor that we shouldn't underestimate, that opposition parties are there. And so the criticism, some of it might well be justified in certain respect, that there are things about which they are legitimately unhappy. But the opportunity was created yesterday to determine the outcome, and we hope that the practical leadership exercise forward will at least provide comfort in the manner in which the work of the assembly will be conducted.
Yes. Now, also we've learned about the second biggest opposition party, the EFF, who have not taken part in the process. Now, looking at the history of the EFF and its conduct in Parliament, particularly when it comes to the Speaker and the engagement with the Speaker in Parliament, are you surprised that the EFF have not taken part?
No, I wasn't surprised. I usually say that we must always look forward to all members of the assembly, all members of parliament participating effectively in the work. But one of the ways you express your protest, it's the right they have, is that you stay away. So, though we would have loved for them to participate, fully be engaged in the process. But staying away is one choice they made to exercise their opposition, perhaps, in that manner. So I wasn't really surprised.
Well, certainly. Now, just looking ahead, and obviously there are going to be a number of challenges going forward, and the Speaker, the National Speaker of Parliament, obviously plays an absolutely critical role. And just looking at this appointment and the value that this appointment would obviously bring to Parliament, to the parliamentary process, and also in terms of, going forward, moving forward. And we know that obviously she's taken over from Thandi Modise, and Thandi Modise obviously has now been deployed into a new position. What can we expect?
Well, one thing that we have to work towards, that we are confronted by serious, concrete issues that faces people in our country. One of them is obviously the pandemic. Our responsibility to persuade as many people as possible to accept to vaccinate in the interest of their own lives and the lives of their families and their neighbors, so that we contain the horrible effect of the pandemic. This is a politically absolutely critical campaign that should include all 14 political parties in Parliament and outside of Parliament for us to succeed in this campaign. So that's one overall current immediate responsibility. Of course, an even bigger one is that the levels of poverty in our country, of inequality and unemployment, are unacceptable. Our response to COVID has heightened those levels, and we need to respond very effectively. So our energies and attention should appropriately be galvanized to focus on those things. And making these conditions even worse is the level of gender-based violence and femicide, the killing of women in the country in ways that are absolutely inappropriate and completely wrong and should be condemned. But just uttering those words is not enough. There should be work done and intensified in our neighborhoods, in the workplace where some of these things happen, everywhere else, wherever we find these kind of things. So that kind of work is critical. It constitutes priorities that we must attend to as a country and as institutions urgently. We can't afford to delay anymore.
Well, the Honorable Lechesa Tsenoli, thank you very much for your time, for taking time out this morning and talking to us here on Salam Media. We do appreciate it. All the best to you, sir. Please take care.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and listeners. Thank you, sir.
Lechesa Tsenoli with us this morning, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, against the appointment or the election of Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula as a new Speaker of the National Assembly. And she has made this statement after being elected, saying, I am particularly emotional today, having been nominated for this position. I also felt great pride as a member of the South, as a South African observing this moment. It is upon this foundation that Parliament is stood. All our people represented here in this Parliament should always feel comfortable that all their interests will have due consideration. Yeah, and that was a statement made by the new Speaker of the National Assembly. The time is just gone 8:30 a.m. We come back, we'll be joined by researcher Afro Middle East Center, Ibrahim Deen.
Spending on your family is a deed of charity, and there's no better opportunity than Wadee Jewelers Assura sale from the 16th to the 21st of August, with massive savings on gold, diamond and silver jewellery. Follow our social media for more details. Wadee Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Durban, KwaZulu-Natal.